Alright, let's get right into it. Hello, everybody! It's Kreate 30 day 15. What? We're halfway in. Amazing. And you've made it so far. Congratulations. Turn to your neighbor and tell them congratulations. You have made it to Kreate 30 day 15. You are officially a creator with a K. And in today's session, we're going to we're going to reflect on what we have done so far. We're going to set the expectations straight on how you can make the best of the remaining 15 days. And it's going to be amazing. This is a milestone event. Just to give you some context about Kreate 30. Stepping into this year, I'm a Christian and I received from the Lord, my maker, I received an instruction to have 30 days of content for 30 days, 30 minutes of content for 30 days. And I had no idea how to go about it. It's something I had never done before. It's something that had never crossed my mind. It's something I never thought was possible. Let me tell you the truth. When you see something in reality, it's easy to conceive the possibility because you're seeing it, right? But there's just a mindset you can have that it's so boxed that you don't see the reality. You don't see the possibility. And that was how it was for me. When I inquired more to understand what exactly I was meant to do, the birth of Kreate came about. And it was a 30-day stream. I had never streamed before. I did not have the slightest idea of how to stream. The faintest idea of how to stream that I had was from my church. I worked in the media team. My church in Cyprus. I worked in the media team and I had observed from afar the streaming process. And I think at a certain point I had also partook in the streaming process. But I never conceived myself streaming by myself. Do you understand? So it was so outlandish. So I thought it's something I'll do later in the year, maybe August, September, where I'm better prepared and better equipped. but I received the instruction to start immediately. To start at the beginning of the year. Start the year with Create 30. And I have, just fast forward to today, I have to tell you that it has been a life-changing experience. If you have consistently followed from day one, you will notice that the improvement day after day. Let me tell you some things that were not here on day one. That light, can you see that light? Just that little light, as as little as it is, that's a minor improvement, right? The one sound was horrible. I was using my laptop sound, and I think I was using my webcam. Was I using my webcam? Yes. No. Was I using my webcam? I can't remember. I probably was using my webcam and the sound from my laptop. So it's crazy how much you can improve in terms of quality in 15 days. 15 days. 15 days. Now I'm sure the video quality is beautiful. It's beautiful. And the audio quality, I'm sure you can hear me loud and clear. This gives me so much joy. It gives me so much joy how much you can improve in 15 days. And that just brings me to how much can we miss out on by not taking action. The truth is that if I sat down in my house and I decided not to obey the instruction of starting Create 30 and going 15 days in, I would have as well, nobody would have queried me. Nobody is going to come to my DM to say, Isaac, why didn't you start this thing? But just the act of taking action. Personally, if you are not impressed by this improvement in 15 days, personally, my heart is overjoyed. Do you understand? We have improved so much in 15 days. Look at day 13 and day 12, where we had the screen share and we were able to scribble on the screen. It was so amazing. So I'm so grateful for how far we have come in just 15 days. Take note, it's just 15 days. When I think about progress I've made in terms of the quality of my content, it usually spans months, right? For example, when I got my camera, when I started saving up for my camera, from when I started creating content to when I got my camera, it took months. It took years. It took a year actually. Because when I started creating my first video, I was using my phone camera, and it wasn't till a year before I got my first camera, right? And the quality leaped by miles. And then I started investing in other small things like mics and other things like that. Do you understand? So I'm saying this to say that when I see significant improvements in quality, it's usually over the span of a long time. But to think that if you watch day 1 of Create 30 and you watch today's episode and you watch day 13 and you watch day 12, you would not be able to believe that these improvements happen in 15 days. Bro, sister, I'm so proud of how far Create 30 has become. And let's dive into why Create 30 actually started. What is the aim of Create 30? The aim of Create 30, as you know it if you have been reading some of my materials, is to provide you, the person watching, with frameworks to ensure you smash your creative goals in 2025. So the premise is that you even have creative goals. And the premise is that you smash your creative goals. And I would be honest with you. And I'll tell you that if you had goals at the beginning of the year, if you had creative goals at the beginning of the year, is there a chat? Okay. If you had creative goals at the beginning of the year, and this is 23rd of January, I would be honest with you to say that the motivation you would have started with would definitely have died. In my experience, that motivation has waned so much. It's not as that initial spark, that initial let's get it. It has changed form. And what happens is that if you don't solidify your motivation, you don't capture your motivation in structures and systems, motivation is not enough to carry you through the year. So it's just day 23, and are we I would be honest with you also about my creative goals. One of my goals, starting the year was to publish one video every week. One video that I'm proud of every week. And I have not been smashing that goal so far. And not to give excuses, something interesting happened. I resumed when I started the year. I wasn't sure what the situation of my school would be. I wasn't sure how early I would start school. I wasn't sure if I was even going to start, continue school till September, because there were some issues, right? So I had set these goals with the, and I had set system with the mindset that I'm going to, I had a job, I still have a job, and I set these goals with the mindset that I'm going to be working this job, and then also be creating, and then also be doing Kreate, and then also be scripting, filming, shooting, and editing these videos. Do you understand? Per week. So when school started, it started impromptu and had to start going to classes, and I haven't been able to, the first week of school was basically registration. And just to wrap this story up, the registration was frustrating because I went to school every day from morning to night, from morning to evening, to no avail. So here I am, not really matching up to my expectations, because I think I'm 1 week back on a video. I did not release a video last week, and if this week ends without me releasing a video, that will make it 2 weeks, and that's very bad concerning my goal. Kreate doesn't count, by the way, because I already told myself that I'm not going to use Kreate as an excuse. You understand? I'm going to make actual 5 to 8 minutes or 3 to 8 minutes videos, right, to post on YouTube. So here's the thing. Number one, as you progress, motivation clearly dies. It depends. You have different, bursts of motivation at different periods, but that initial motivation never remains the same. You have to solidify them in systems. And number two, life can throw you off balance. That's one thing. Another thing I'm learning, right? So in terms of smashing your creative goals, you have to understand that life can throw you off balance. But the most important thing that I'm learning is adaptability. Adapting to new situations, new circumstances, and revisiting your system. So one thing is clear, that in everything we talked about from day one, the thing that is important, that if you don't apply, it makes everything we talked about null, is revisiting and revamping, reiterating. Understand? So, for example, one of the systems I set is having schedules, having a structure. Like, I know on Monday, on Tuesdays when my scripting days, on Tuesdays were the days I will sit down and actually write the content, right? On Saturdays were my filming days, and then I use Sundays to edit, right? So all that kind of has to change. Even the schedule, my schedule generally has to change, right? I have to go sit down and look at my calendar and restructure things, right? That's part of smashing your creative goals, right? So I just brought that into context because of the purpose of, Create 30, and I have to be transparent with you. If I'm trying to encourage you to smash your creative goals, I have to be transparent with you about my own creative goals, and that's where I'm at. And I need you to hold me accountable, because if I'm trying to revisit my systems, I definitely have to, put out a video in the next week. The next week is is the last week for me to find balance. Do you understand? So 2 weeks is enough for me to find balance, and I should have found my balance in the next week. So this is my public putting out there to hold me accountable. And definitely, if you're watching this, you have to be a part of Kreate community, because this is what we're about. Accountability is a big part of smashing your creative goals. Accountability is definitely is a no-brainer. Do you understand? You have to be accountable to someone. So just popping into our Kreate chat, let me just pop into the chat, and let me talk about something. And this is actually a message to Kreate members, but it's also something that has been on my heart and I really need to put out. and I'm just going to get into it right after I check the chat. Here's what has been on my mind, and it's very important. It's very important. It's very important. If you're listening to this, I'm totally convinced that you need to create. It is an emergency. You need to create. It is an emergency. I'll say it one more time. You need to create. It's an emergency. Why do I say this? I was having a phone call with my friend just before this live, and I understood the urgency of creativity. The urgency of creativity stems from two ideas or two arguments or two thoughts, in my opinion. Number one, and we discussed this in I think day 1, day 2, the media space is becoming too big to ignore. The influence, the impact of the media space is becoming too big to ignore. When we were growing up, we had TV shows we watched. We had things that made, we had things that made our childhood, that created our childhood. I remember one of my favorite shows was, I had different at different stages. When I was very young, it was 64 Zulin. And I don't know if you watched it growing up as well, but the theme song was like 64 Zulin, and they would tell stories, right? And there was the Ben 10 era, and there was the regular show era. But in all, I realized that a lot of the things I consumed shaped me, shaped my mindset, shaped my belief system, shaped my mentality. Ooh. Stream stopped. Come on. Alright. A lot of the things I consumed shaped my mentality. And if you look at the media space today, one thing you realize is that there have been certain narratives that have been thrown out. There have been certain things that have been insisted on in the media space that is now changing the general mindset of human beings. Do you understand? For example, a very good example is the woke mentality, right? Progressive mindset. And the progressive mindset insists on a lot of things, including, diversity in some sense, including diverse gender, diverse sexes. You understand? Like we have some narratives that have been pushed, right? And based on whatever you believe, you have to admit that whatever the landscape is right now is not how it was in few years before now. Do you understand? Whatever the narratives being pushed today is very different from how it looked years before. There was a time where if you spoke about homosexuality publicly, you would be trolled, you would be insulted, you would be shut down. But we are in a time where if you speak against, you would be trolled, you will be shut down. Do you understand? So we can see a shift in narrative. We can see a shift in culture. We can see that culture is being shaped heavily by media. US election that just took place, Donald Trump was recently sworn in, and it is only someone that is ignorant that would not admit to the fact that media played a huge, significant role in the US election. Media was the battleground. YouTube had content from conservatives, from liberals. They were battling it out on the media space. TikTok was a battleground, was literally a battleground. I remember this guy, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk literally went on campuses making content, arguing, having debates. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying that the very world you live in, the narrative now more than ever is being shaped by media in different senses, right? Different based on your different belief systems. It's not just about politics, it's not just about religion. Whatever it is you hold dear, whatever it is you value, as you're watching right now, whatever it is you value can either be insisted on or be abolished depending on whatever media says. So why is it an emergency? It is an emergency because media is now democratized. Anybody can create, anybody can put stuff out. And to even make it, to even make it more pressing, not only that anybody can create, it has now become easier than ever to put content out. Do you understand the sheer ease? If you took someone from 1994 and you brought them and put them in today's world, and you said that for you to make an announcement, for you to create something that impacts thousands and millions of people, you didn't have to pay crazy amounts of money, you didn't have to have crazy amounts of technology, you didn't have to pass through gatekeepers, pass through media houses, pass through people that would decide what it is you could say. You could just literally set up your phone. I'm shooting on my phone. Set up your phone in your bedroom. I'm in my bedroom. And create whatever it is you want, and people would listen, and you can influence people. They would say you are crazy. If you took someone from 1994, someone that did not see this year, and you told them this, they would say you are completely bonkers. Are you trying to tell me you shut down entire industries, entire governments? They will tell you you are bonkers. So it has become easier than ever. The 7-year-old in his bedroom is creating. The 5-year-old is. We have PewDiePie or something on Instagram. On YouTube. We have kids, literal kids creating content, and it's an emergency because now more than ever, your voice needs to be heard. Now more than ever, your voice needs to be heard. So don't look down on the fact that when you start out, maybe only 1 or 2 people would listen. The thing is, the seeds you plant today are the seeds you plant today give you the standpoint for the tree to grow tomorrow. The tree will never grow if the seed was never planted. That is why we are not ashamed of starting. We are not ashamed of starting small. We are not ashamed of starting with what we have. Because the seed you have today, the seed you plant today, is going to be the leverage for whatever tree is going to grow in the future. Now, when you get into the future and you have these big aspirations, these big plans, these things that you have the infrastructure to carry out whatever agenda you want to carry out, you are going to be so glad that you planted this seed today. Kreate would never happen if I never picked up my phone 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It was 3 years. 2021, right? What? It's more than 3 years. What? More than 3 years. 2021. I would not be who I am today without that seed. So you need to create, and you need to create now. It's an emergency. We can't postpone anymore. Because the thing you have in you is too big to ignore. It's too big to ignore. I'm a Christian and I believe that God made you. And God is intentional about making you. Even if you're not a Christian, you should know that you are not a mistake. There's purpose behind your making. What does that mean? The fact that there's purpose behind your making means that you are embedded with something that was not only is nice and all, it is necessary. It's so necessary that be above all odds. Do you know how, if you wanted to make a human being today, it's very impossible for you. So above all scientific odds, a miracle had to happen. All the millions of sperm cells that were swimming, it had to be you. That's a funny way to put it. Above all odds, you know how many people had to meet? Your 2 parents had to meet. And for your 2 parents to exist, your grandparents had to meet. And for them to, you know how many people had to meet for just you to be born. why am I saying all that? I'm saying all that to say that you have something to offer the world. Whether you believe it or not, you have something to offer the world. And the earlier you start putting it out, the earlier you start making your mark in the world. It just takes two people. It just takes one person to start a movement. If I talk to you and you are moved and you take action because of your movement will make other people take action. And the ripple effect spreads. So you need to create today. Shrink the distance it takes for you to. So now, the last thing I want to talk about before I go is how I strongly believe that the fact that I can make videos is not what is special. The fact that I can make a design, that's not special. I believe that everybody should be able to do so. What is special is what it is you have to offer. Because there was a time where somebody's job was typing. There was a time where there's somebody's job description that they were typists. There was a time where there's somebody's job description that they wrote letters. Everybody in the city will gather whenever they want to write letters. They wrote. But what happened? There was mass literacy. Everybody could write. So they became democratization of writing. At a certain point, there was mass literacy. Everyone could, at the basic level, use a computer. Meaning people could type by themselves. How many people know a typist in real life? How many people know somebody that their job is to type? That's all they do. They go to work, clock in and type and go back home. I bet you might not know that many people. But let me tell you something about today. As we speak, more people than ever are becoming media literate. They are able to do the basic stuff. They can put a video online. They can put graphics online. They can put text online. You know, they have that tool. So this is a tool that should not be reserved for special people. Because Isaac the Creator has the Creator in his name, he should not be the only one that should be able to have access to these tools. Anyone that has a voice should have these tools. And that is why we have Kreate. That is why we are doubling down on Kreate. Because I want, at the end of Kreate, I want at least 4, 5, 6, 7 people to have these tools in their hand. To be able to create. So, we're done with that time. I'm going to round up now by saying this. In the next 15 days, we're going to get really serious with equipping ourselves with these tools. We're going to get really serious with equipping ourselves with these tools. And I need to confirm with my brand manager, but I feel like I want to take 2 days break before we continue with day 16 to 30. 2 days to prepare quality content, to research, so that we can equip ourselves. And if you are here and you need to get information on how we're continuing, click the link in the chat to join Create Community, or the link in the description if you're watching the replay. Click the link and I'll confirm with my brand manager and I'll announce there whether or not we are continuing tomorrow or we'll take 2 days break. But this is to say that you need to create, it's an emergency. So all those projects that are waiting dormant, that are lying dormant, all those things you started, the scripts you've written that you have not acted on, the videos you have shot and you're not edited, you need to drop those seeds so that they'll start germinating. We need a large body of work. We need to infiltrate spaces and we need to create, because we are made to create. Thank you for joining me on day 15 of Create 30. I hope you were inspired. I hope you're now more vibrant, now more full than ever to go the next 15 days to smash your creative goals. And I would also be putting in my best and would converge at the other side. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Bye.
How was today's session? I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section. Now, to ensure that you put everything you learned into practice, we are building a community of creators just like me and you that come together to keep each other accountable, to share ideas, and to grow together. The name of this community is called Kreate Community. To be a part of this community is simple and it's free. All you have to do is click the link pinned in the live chat or the link in the description. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow. Bye.